So, want to dive deep into TSMC's latest earnings call. Their revenue is booming, like seriously booming, almost 30% up this year. We're talking billions here, folks.
Billions.
And you know what's fueling this rocket ship?
Let me guess. AI.
AI it is.
Yeah, their CEO, he didn't hold back. Called the demand for AI chips insane. And honestly, you just look at the financials and it's hard to argue with him. This isn't just some, Silicon Valley buzzword. This is the real deal.
So let's break it down. What's fueling this insane growth? Is AI really living up to the hype, or is this like a temporary sugar rush?
Well, TSMC, they're seeing it firsthand. AI is delivering, it's not just some theory anymore. It's actually boosting productivity, making things more efficient. They even use it in their own operations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and get this, they estimate that just a 1% gain in productivity from AI, a single percent, translates to $1 billion.
$1 billion for 1%.
Oh,
That's
well,
wild. That really puts into perspective just how powerful this technology can be. And it's not just for tech companies, right?
right, exactly. Any industry that wants to be more efficient, more productive, they're all looking at AI.
This is way bigger than just faster phones and fancier gadgets, isn't it?
This is transforming everything.
Okay, so some people, they're waving the warning flags about a tech bubble. Are they just being overly cautious, or is there actually some fire behind all that smoke?
Well, it's interesting because while everyone's going crazy over AI, TSMC is also seeing good things in other areas of the semiconductor market. They're saying things are stabilizing, even improving in some cases.
So it's a good mix then, not just relying on one big thing.
Exactly. A diversified portfolio of silicon, I guess you could say.
Makes sense. Now, speaking of diversification, TSMC is investing heavily in new factories and equipment, right?
Big time. And they're not just talking about it, they're putting their money where their mouth is. This potential increase in capital expenditures they mentioned, it's a clear sign they're betting big on continued growth in this sector.
It's not just about keeping up with demand either, is it? They're expanding globally, building factories in the US, Japan, even Europe.
It's a bold strategy. They want to be the go-to chip maker for the world, no matter where those customers are.
So it's like a global chess match. And TSMC is strategically placing its pawns, rooks, and bishops to control the entire board.
Exactly. They're thinking long-term, and part of that is ensuring they have a presence in all the key markets.
Smart. But this global domination strategy, it doesn't come cheap, does it?
It doesn't. TSMC estimates their overall gross margin could take a 2–3% hit in the coming years because of this global expansion.
2 to 3%, that's not insignificant.
It's not, no. But they're playing the long game here. They're willing to sacrifice a bit of profit in the short term to secure their position as the world's leading chip maker in the long run.
Makes sense. So they're basically saying, we're in this for the marathon, not the sprint.
Exactly. They're building an empire, not just chasing quick profits.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Building and running these massive factories, it takes a ton of energy.
Right.
And as they ramp up production of those cutting-edge 2-nanometer chips, well, that energy consumption is only going to go up.
It's like they're trying to power a small city just to make these tiny chips. No wonder energy is a big concern for them in Taiwan.
It's a real challenge. They need more power to make the chips, but using more power puts more strain on the system. It's a bit of a catch-22, really.
So how are they tackling this energy puzzle? They can't just keep building power plants forever, can they?
Well, they're definitely aware of the issue, and they're not taking it lightly. They've been working closely with the Taiwanese government to try and figure out how to secure a stable and sustainable energy supply for the long term. It's interesting how vital that relationship between governments and the semiconductor industry has become. It's not just about, cutting taxes and regulations anymore. It's about ensuring that these companies have the resources they need, especially energy, to innovate and grow.
It's essential. And TSMC gets it. They're actively collaborating, looking for solutions, which bodes well for their future in Taiwan. But it's not just about raw energy consumption either. They're also investing a lot in technologies that can actually make their chips more energy efficient.
Oh, like what?
Like CoWoS? Have you heard of that?
CoWoS. Rings a bell, but I can't say I'm up to speed on all the technical jargon. Give me the breakdown.
All right. So imagine this. You're building a miniature city right on top of a silicon wafer. Each chip is like a specialized district, all interconnected and working together in perfect harmony. That's CoWoS in a nutshell. It's a way to package multiple chips together super efficiently, like a high-tech jigsaw puzzle.
So instead of having all these separate chips taking up space and guzzling power, they're combined into this single super efficient unit. What does that mean for, the average person using their phone or laptop?
Faster devices, longer battery life. It's all about packing more power and efficiency into a smaller space. And TSMC, they're all in on this technology. They've already more than doubled their CAWA's capacity this year.
Oh, they're not messing around. Sounds like they're betting big on Kawa. But is it all smooth sailing? Any downsides to this approach?
Well, one thing is, the margins on these advanced packaging services are still a bit lower than their overall gross margin.
So they're making slightly less profit on this cutting-edge tech.
For now, yeah. But it's a strategic move. By investing in high-growth areas like this, they're basically securing their place at the forefront of the industry. It might mean a smaller slice of the pie today, but they're playing the long game, aiming for a bigger pie tomorrow.
Makes sense. So they're not just chasing profits, they're building a technological empire. And speaking of profits, let's talk numbers. Their revenue's impressive, but what about their actual profitability? Investors always want to know the bottom line.
Rightfully so. Well, their CFO, Wendell Huang, he reported a 57.8% gross margin for the third quarter.
57.8%. That's huge. What's the secret sauce?
Yeah.
How do they maintain such healthy margins in such a competitive market?
It all comes down to efficiency. They're incredibly good at what they do, and they're able to charge a premium for it. They've positioned themselves as the go-to supplier for the most advanced chips, and their customers are willing to pay top dollar for that level of quality and technology.
They're like the Rolls-Royce of chip makers. Everyone wants a piece of that action. But we talked earlier about their global expansion potentially impacting those margins. What's the outlook for the next quarter? Will those overseas factories start eating into their profits?
Well, they're predicting a gross margin between 57% and 59% for the fourth quarter.
It's still really strong.
Yes, the demand for their advanced chips, especially those used in AI, it's not slowing down anytime soon. And that's key, because that strong demand should help offset any potential margin hits from their global expansion efforts.
It sounds like TSMC is firing on all cylinders. Record revenue, healthy margins, global expansion, and they're leading the charge in technological innovation. They're definitely a company to watch.
Absolutely. They're at the top of their game, no doubt about it.
So they're killing it right now. But the big question is, can they keep this up? What's their long-term strategy? Did they drop any hints during the call?
Well, they were a little vague about specific long-term projections, but they did use some interesting language. Like when they talked about the next several years, they kept using words like healthy, very healthy, that kind of thing.
So playing it cool but still optimistic? Classic corporate speak. We're not making any promises, but we're feeling good.
Exactly. Under-promise, over-deliver. They want to manage expectations, but still reassure their investors.
Smart move, especially in the semiconductor world. Things can change pretty quickly in that industry.
Oh, absolutely. Boom and bust cycles, that's kind of the name of the game. But it seems like TSMC is saying, hey, we're ready for whatever comes our way. They've got the AI wave pushing them forward. They're expanding globally, and they've got plenty of cash in the bank. They're in a good spot.
They've definitely built a solid foundation.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in all the numbers and the technical jargon, but at the end of the day, it's the people that make all this happen.
Couldn't agree more. We talk about revenue and margins and all that, but it's the engineers, the technicians, the salespeople, even the government officials they're working with. It's all those people working together that drive innovation and make this kind of success possible.
It's like a giant complex machine, but with a human heart at its core.
Well said. And I think TSMC understands that. You could really hear it in how their leadership talked about their employees, their customers, their partners. It's about collaboration, trust, a shared vision. That's how you achieve great things.
It's a good reminder that even in a field as technical as this, it's still the human element that really matters.
Absolutely.
Well, there you have it, TSMC, a company at the forefront of the AI revolution, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and navigating the complex world of global business. But most importantly, a company that recognizes the power of human ingenuity.
It's been fascinating to get this inside look at their journey. I'm excited to see what they do next.
If you're as intrigued by TSMC as we are, I highly recommend checking out their website. They've got tons of information, and it's surprisingly accessible, even for those of us who aren't, chip experts.
Yeah, it's a great resource if you want to go even deeper into the world of semiconductors.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the fascinating world of TSMC and the future of technology.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.
Because that's what the deep dive is all about.